Hi, everybody, and welcome to Tarot Without Suckers. I'm your boy, Holy Mountaineering, aka Freight or Not, and we're here today with Chapter 0.3 in the Tarot Without Suckers video feature zine series. This is Where to Begin, 0. So, we're going to go into the cat screaming about stuff, apparently. Now, we're going to go into the psychology part of this really briefly. Again, if you have not seen the introduction, if you haven't seen chapter 0.0, 0.1, or 0.2, please go back and watch those now. This will make a lot more sense if you do. Also, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Leave a nasty comment. I don't really give a shit. Do whatever. You do you. So we're going to go a little bit into psychology to get some of the attributions of the symbolism right. Really, this is going to be the homework video. So I'm going to need you to do some homework. I'm going to need you to stop yelling at me, cat. So, homework. Carl Jung's Man and His Symbols. Now, I know this is like a pretty intimidating book, but the paperback copy that I have, that I got for fucking 50 cents at a thrift store, it's a lot smaller than this. There's a lot of pictures for people who are into pictures and books, keeping them interested in things. So it also takes up a space. So this isn't as intimidating as you might think. It also can be read not like a textbook. You can definitely pick this apart and use it as a textbook if you'd like. But I think just giving this a read, like reading this like you would read any other kind of book, is really going to help you understand what I'm talking about. If you want to get into the weeds of other Carl Jung stuff, you do that too. But just this book right here is going to really help you understand a lot of what I'm talking about in tarot. There are nothing but gems in this book. I highly recommend you read it. Like, it's required if you're one of my students. So if you're one of my students and you're watching, hey, you and me both forgot to write the date and astrological stuff down. But for me, it's February 21st at about 2:30 a.m. And the sun is in Aquarius and the moon is in Taurus. And the moon is also waxing. So shampoo my balls. You forgot to do it. Go back, write it down, get your diary out. If you haven't pulled your card for today, do that. I pulled this one yesterday. I'm going to get to mine. Don't judge me. I'm the teacher. You're the fucking student. All right. So yeah, Carl Jung, Man and His Symbols. Boom. Check it out. Check it out from your local library or buy it. It's very widely spread. It's not going to be out of print in our lifetimes. So the next book that I would highly recommend that you pick up is Fritz Perls, The Gestalt Approach, and Eyewitness to Therapy. You can buy this in this form where these are two different things that are put into one thing. Most of the paperback copies that I believe you'll find will be like this. Will have both in it. The Gestalt Approach is really the main thing that you need to read. I will read you a little bitty excerpt from that, and you might gather why I think that it is important to this. So, this is the first sentence in Chapter 1, Foundations, Gestalt Psychology. Any reasonable approach to psychology, not hiding itself behind a professional jargon, must be comprehensible to the intelligent layman, and must be grounded in the facts of human behavior. That's what we're doing here too. This is kind of Gestalt therapy tarot, or Gestalt tarot therapy. Anyway, find this. I will include PDFs for both of these for my Patreon followers. But if you're industrious, Google that shit. So the complicated jargon notwithstanding, this is going to be sort of the, psychology foundations of what we're doing. I could definitely suggest Wilhelm Reich to start with as someone who you should check out his writings on psychology and pretty much anything else. Guy's wild. But having a basic understanding of Jungian psychology, just basic. Read Man and His Symbols. And having a basic understanding of Gestalt psychology, Gestalt therapy. Read Fritz Perls' Gestalt approach, eyewitness therapy, or just the Gestalt approach. Read these things. These things are going to be important. And again, if you have a background in psychology, that's great. The more that you understand each of these things, the easier this stuff and reading tarot is going to be to you. So, the psychology attribution thing, you're like, Tim, what the fuck does the psychology of the human mind have to do with the attributions of the symbols and the mysteries in the tarot cards? What the fuck do those things have to do with each other? And I'd say, shut up. You didn't raise your hand. Now you're asking questions out of turn. It's rude. But what I would actually say is, everything has to do with everything in here. Like I said in chapter 0.0, or possibly the introduction, don't remember, that a lot of these, that pretty much all of this, you could draw lines between any of these things. The reason that we're not doing that, and we're not throwing everything to the arbitrary winds, is because we're learning a thing, and systems help people learn things. That's fact. That's why people create them, because they make shit easier than just fucking trying to figure it out fucking on the fly. So, the psychology of how to basically talk about your existence to get a sort of gauge and perspective on what's happening in your mind. So let's think about this. The mind is like the telescope or the microscope that everyone uses to view the world. So if you don't have a telescope, you can't see very far into space. So you need a telescope. That's you. That's your corporeal form, right? It's about to get fucking psychedelic, kids. So, you are your telescope. Now, anyone who's ever owned a telescope or a microscope will be able to tell you that them shits are sensitive, they're easy to fuck up. Like, you get some shit on your lens, like, you gotta clean the lens. If your mirrors in the inside are broken, like, you might need a new telescope. Or let's say, for the sake of this analogy, you're going to replace those mirrors. The idea is you need to keep your telescope in working order. And if you understand how that telescope works, or ways to understand and fix that telescope, ways to change parts out of the telescope, then you can do that. You can fix the telescope. But if you don't know what the parts are, if you don't know how to fix it, you don't know what's inside of the telescope, your brain here, if you don't know how to read that telescope, then you won't be able to fix it. Maybe you can go to someone else and have them fix it, but that's really expensive, and we're talking about your mind, so maybe you just want to fix it yourself. But that being said, I am not knocking therapy. Everyone should be in therapy. I'm in therapy. Go once a week. Was fucking there earlier today. Was there less than 4 hours ago. Therapy is great. Therapy is going to be a great place for you to not go fucking nuts. So, pretty much everybody who's been in this occultism, magic, witchcraft, whatever game for very long knows a completely crazy motherfucker. Everyone knows someone who is the reincarnation of Aleister Crowley, or their great-grandmother was a mighty powerful witch in Salem, Massachusetts, who was burned for being so good at her craft. Everybody knows somebody who is fucking nuts and just needs to go see a goddamn professional. You know, like, everyone knows someone who is using occultism, magic, whatever, as a mask for their mental illness to stop being shitty for a minute. A lot of people use occultism, a lot of people use religion, a lot of people use all sorts of things as a mask for their mental illness. And in order to be able to do this correctly, or to be able to do this very well, you're gonna want to have as much of a balanced mind as possible, because we can get really far in the weeds with a lot of this symbolism stuff and a lot of this synchronicity stuff that might make you question how completely sane you are. Like, oh my god, like, this is so crazy and so meaningful. This has never happened to anyone. I must be important. Holy shit, I must be the reincarnation of a fucking dead pharaoh. Like, you ever notice how, like, nobody's, like, the reincarnation of, like, the, like, medieval Welsh milk boy? Like, everyone's the fucking reincarnation of someone, like, really important. Like, there's a name for that in psychology. Narcissism. That being said, I am the reincarnation of an ancient line of noble, poor assholes. Not really. Anyway, so your mind is a tool to get things done. You want to keep that tool clean, so you want to know how that tool works. This is psychology. Kind of. So, again, Carl Jung's Man and His Symbols. Read it. If you don't own it, or you don't want to pay 25 cents for it, Google the name of that, and then PDF. Chances are, I bet you find that shit for free. And also read Fritz Perls' The Gestalt Approach, The Eyewitness to Therapy. This is a great book on really approachable, humanistic ways of looking at your psyche and your mental faculties and dealing with them in a healthy, real way. So, the more, again, that you get to know this psychology angle of how minds sort of work, or, you know, like near medical scientific interpretation of one of the aspects of how the human mind works, you'll be able to separate that from different aspects of the human mind, especially the higher tier sort of things that people are capable of. You'll be able to look at, someone who, or yourself in a reading. You'll be able to look at a card and be able to attach that. That's the attribution. And the more that you understand just how these things relate, the more that you will be better at tarot. The more better you'll be at tarot. So, thanks for coming out and smoking this joint with me. Remember, please subscribe and like this video. I think it would be over here. I don't know, whatever. Please like this video. Subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, quabbleistic queries, or anything of that sort, leave it in the comments. Thanks again. The next video that we're going to do is going to be getting into a little bit of the psychology of the symbols. And I might do that tonight. I don't know. I'm not finished with this joint. We'll find out. You'll find out later. Anyway, this is Holy Mountaineering, a.k.a. Afraid or Not, signing off. At least in this video. Thanks, guys.